Says it's supposed to be an easy job. To hell with that idea. You just gotta wonder, is it better just to take it someplace and let them do it? And of course, that's the part that they were leaving out on all of the other videos. Okay, so now I'm going to change the coolant in this Ford E350. This is a 2012, and because of time constraints, the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to drain it now. So I'm going to throw this thing underneath there, pull the drain out, let it drain out. Then I'm going to throw some water in there. So I've got some water ready to go over here. I think it holds somewhere around 8 gallons, somewhere in the neighborhood. I'm going to throw some cleaner in there. So I've got some cleaner for the cooling system here, and then that's it. I'm gonna shut the hood and I'm gonna drive away, and then that's all I'm gonna do for right now. And then 24 hours from now, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna drain it. And so whatever driving I do over the next 24 hours, which is not gonna be like really that substantial, it'll be enough to get everything circulating like you need to do. I'll run the heater and all that kind of stuff to make sure everything, you know, gets fully circulated, and hopefully the cleaning does its job. And but I mean, I'm not doing any extensive driving, so that'll be fine. And then tomorrow when I come back, we'll drain that out. We'll see what it looks like. And if it's kind of dirty, we'll clean it again. So I've got enough water. I can do two rinses. The first one with the cleaner, and then another one if necessary. I can't imagine it'll need more than that. I mean, if it does, I guess I can do it again. But and then after 1 or 2 rinses, I'm gonna rinse with a final rinse with distilled water, and then I've got the coolant here, 8 gallons. This stuff is not cheap. I chose to use the stuff specifically for Ford, the Prestone Platinum, which I think this one says it's good for like, what was it, like 350,000 miles or something. I don't see it on here, but it was somewhere in that neighborhood. And I don't know, this stuff was expensive, but and it could have been cheaper if I just would have got this stuff is ready to go. It's already pre-mixed. If I would have got the concentrate, I could have just got 4 of these and it would have been cheaper, and I would have just mixed it with water. But I think the reason I did that is because I wanted extra jugs to be able to recycle this stuff and take it to the place where you're supposed to take it. But I mean, I guess if I was thinking clearly at the time, I could have just realized that I could have bought more jugs of bottled water, and like if need be, just dump those down the drain, and then now I've got my bottles that I can use to take as much of that stuff as I need to wherever it specifically has to go. So unfortunately, I wasn't thinking at the time, so you know, the only advantage is I don't have to worry about mixing this stuff equally. But you know, whatever. So hopefully this is something I've never done before, so I don't know specifically. You know, I'm just going to learn as I go. I don't think it's too complicated. I don't know where the drain is. I think it's over here on the right. So let me go ahead and do that so I can get the hell out of here. Alright, so over here on the driver's side, so this is the radiator here. I think that this thing is my drain. There it is. Okay, so that hose I had for the hand pump that I was trying to use for my transmission fluid change actually fit on that little nozzle, so I went ahead and hooked it up just for the hell of it in the pan. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some pliers and see if I can get that thing to turn and see if anything comes out. It's pretty much stopped. I'm going to close the drain. I'm going to put some water in there in the cleaner, see how much it'll take, and then get the hell out of here, go drive around, and come back tomorrow and
drain all that out and finish this up.
So now I'm gonna add this stuff. So I think a couple of essential tools for this job would be, one, a chair, so you can sit down while you wait for this slow ass coolant to drain out, which took forever, and maybe one of those electronic fly swatters for the mosquitoes that are coming for you. I don't know how they found me in here, but they found me, so I'm about to break mine out. So let's get this thing started. I'm going to start the engine, try and pull the rest of this water down, and see how much more we can get in there. Okay, so come to find out, the reason I'm only getting like 3 gallons out of this is because most of the coolant is locked up in the radiator, which I guess I did not realize that. I thought it'd be like other cars where you just empty the radiator and then all the coolant comes out, but that's not the case here. In this situation, apparently there are a couple drain ports on the block of the engine itself, which you have to open up. There's actually 2, and you know, so to get the full flush, you have to open those up and drain those. So I'm not sure if I really feel like doing that. I'm gonna climb under there, see if I can find them and how awkward they might be to get to. So I have the front end jacked up a little bit with these Rhino ramps, make it easier to get under there. And so the alternative, well, I'm gonna go under there and take a look, and I'm either gonna have to access those drain ports, or I'm gonna have to, the other alternative is I can just do the same flush that I did with the radiator, maybe even take the heater hose off, see if I can get basically as much out as I can, and then switch over to the distilled water, close everything back up, put in the distilled water, run the engine for, you know, until it gets up to operating temperature, let the distilled water dilute whatever is in there now, because right now I have 3 gallons of purified water plus whatever is left over of the old coolant plus the cleaner. And so if I flush out another 3 to 4 gallons of that entire mixture, because I put that stuff in yesterday, so then I'll get, that stuff's diluted by now, so then I'll get, you know, 3 to 4 gallons of whatever that dilution is. And then if I add in 3 to 4 gallons of distilled water, let that run until we get back up to temperature, then dilute that whole mixture and then flush that out. If I do that multiple times, 3 or 4 times, it basically I should get to the point where this stuff starts running out clear. And I think that at that point I should have mostly distilled water in there. And I mean, if I did that route and I drained it now, whatever comes out, I can save the container and I can compare it. So if I get to the point where I'm flushing nothing but clear water, then I know that statistically that should be primarily distilled water coming out. Because if there's any purified water left, it would show up. It would show up because there's also some coolant left, some antifreeze, so it would have some color to it. You know, so if it's coming out clear, then that means that most of all this stuff is gone, the antifreeze, and then that means also the purified water would be pretty much gone too. And if I do it multiple times, say this holds just under 8 gallons, if I were to do that and run like 16 gallons through, I mean, there's not going to be any kind of either antifreeze or purified water left, so I don't have to worry about the mineral content or anything like that. Then at that point I would drain out as much as I can again and then start putting in this stuff, and however much gets, even if it's only 4 or 5 gallons, that's probably going to be enough. And if I really wanted to, I could just do another drain of that stuff and then put the remainder of whatever that is in, or even better yet, buy some concentrate, because this stuff is diluted. So if I buy a concentrate, I could technically, see, at this point, like if I go that route, I probably should have just bought the concentrate, because then I could just leave the distilled water, whatever's in there, and then put the other half, you know, figure out what the ratio would be and just use the concentrate. But this is already diluted 50-50, so now I'm stuck with this. So I'll figure that out, I guess, when I get there. And I'm not even 100% sure if I'm gonna go that route. I'm gonna go under here and inspect and see how hard those are to access, and if I can even get them loose. I think they're Allen wrenches. So I'm gonna grab some Allen wrenches and just go under there and see, take a look around and see what I can find. I think this is one of them right here. This one is right above the oil filter. Let's see what size. Let me go on the other side here and look. I can't see anything because I can't. This frame is in the way. Fuck, I can't see a damn thing here either. So this is supposed to be an easy job. Alright, to hell with that idea. One of them I can't even get to. I can't even see it or even locate it. The other one, can't break it free. There's nowhere to get any kind of leverage. This thing was just starting to twist and bend on me. Like the metal was starting to twist just with my hand or with the wrench attached. Just the hell with that. I'm just going to do the flush the normal way. I'm going to do multiple flushes, and I think that ultimately it should be okay. We'll make that work. You just gotta wonder, is it better just to take it someplace and let them do it? So there's flush number 4. That's this one here. So this is the original antifreeze after the first drain. It's pure coolant. This is after the first rinse. After the second flush and rinse and drain. And then this would be the third. And then this would be the fourth. So it's getting lighter. So maybe, I don't know, maybe by 4 more of these cycles through, maybe it'll be actually clear. But if it takes more, I'll do more. So, but this is definitely a pain in the ass. If I would have known that it was going to be like this, I just would have taken it someplace. This is too much time, energy, and honestly too much money too by the time that you factor everything in. So if I would have watched a video like this where I saw somebody going through all this stuff, and then of course by the time this is all done, how many of these bottles am I going to have? All this plus all that and maybe even more, and then I got to go find a recycling center to take all this stuff. Like if I would have watched somebody deal with all this on this van, which you would, you know, originally I thought, okay, I can just pull the drain just like everybody else is doing on theirs, and all the stuff will come out and I'll just flush it and fill it back up and that's a done deal. No, not on this one. This one, there's only going to be like 3 gallons coming out of the radiator, maybe another ½ gallon or so, or a little bit less if you pull that heater hose. And you want the rest of it, you want it all drained. You got to get under there and somehow get those drain ports on the engine block open. There's 2 of them. One is stuck. The other, you'll be lucky if you can even see it, let alone get a tool on there. And you know, that's too much work. Sometimes it is better just to pay someone to go do something like this so you don't have to deal with it. If I was to do this again, I probably would definitely just take it somewhere, because it's not worth me saving whatever amount of money it is just to go through all this nonsense for, like, probably, I don't know, maybe it's a time issue. If I had more time, I probably would go under there and try and get both of those drain ports off and just do it in one afternoon and be done with it. But with limited time, I can only do this. Like I did it twice today, because you don't just drain it, refill it, and drain it again. You got to let the engine cool down, then you can drain it, then you refill it, then you got to run the engine again up to operating temperature, then you got to let it cool down again, and then you can drain it again. And I just don't have that kind of time right now. So like this is literally going to take me like 1 to 2 weeks of draining this thing over and over and over again before it's finally done. So not worth it for me. But Tomorrow, I think if I can get the time, I'll come in and I'll do 1 or 2 more, and we'll just keep this row going until it turns out that color, and then hopefully it'll be done. So this is 12 times that I've drained the radiator and refilled it with distilled water, and this is the color I've got. Like, this is distilled water. It should be clear, same color as basically as this container. But this is what I'm getting out of here, and I don't see any rust particles. I do actually see some rust particles now that I look. So that's probably what I'm dealing with. I can see one there, and if there's rust buildup in there, I guess that it could still be causing this to be an issue. So I have to have this professionally done. This was a complete failure, a complete waste of time. I've got 1 million of these things I got to return to a recycling place now. I don't know how many hours I've wasted on this, but like I said, 12 times of crawling underneath there, draining the radiator, pulling the heater hose, letting all this shit drain out, then transferring this into those empty bottles of those. Like, this is ridiculous. So I think I learned my lesson on this one. There are certain things that are maybe not DIY friendly, and I think this for me is one of them. I think it's, for the money, I think it's easier just to take it somewhere. And if I didn't have to deal with this, if this became clear after like the 4th or 5th time, then okay, fine. But I don't know what's going on here. This did not work, so I'm just gonna have it professionally done. And this is what's going in there now. And this is good for 15 years or 350,000 miles, but probably it won't even be in there 6 months to a year before I have it changed again. So after draining all this liquid into those containers, I'm left with this stuff: some rust, some sediment, some scale, some little yellow blobs. So clearly this thing just needs to be properly flushed with a machine. Like, I don't have a hose, so I can't just sit there and let this thing run and flush with water until it runs clear like a lot of people will do. But this method of just using your draining the radiator and then refilling is just, like, I could be doing this for another year and probably still not get all that shit out. So that's why I'm gonna have it done professionally now. I don't see any other option. So this stuff has been sitting here a couple of weeks, and as I suspected, a lot of this stuff towards the end was just nothing but distilled water with rust. So like this is the 11th one, and like this is clear at the top, and then down here you can see all the sediment that has separated from the water just floating around. And if I open the cap and smell it, it smells just like distilled water. So so this definitely needs to be professionally flushed. I mean, if all that rust is in there, I don't know if I could have gotten all that stuff out if I just kept doing this, but somehow I doubt it. So I think if I would have known that in the beginning, you know, with the idea that this thing has been not serviced in all this time, and that this is a possibility that you could be dealing with this. This is number 8, and this is all kinds of weird sludge. I don't know if that's rust or what that is, but it's like a white. Anyways, I would have taken it and had it done in the first place professionally with a machine, because they can get all that stuff out. So, yeah, this one's got all kinds of regular sediment floating around in there. Anyways, that's what that was all about. The flushing process was working, and so that is probably, a lot of this is probably just distilled water. But because I had so much sediment and rust in there, this process of draining and filling and draining and filling over and over again was not going to work for me. So I think the moral of the story is, if you have not done a coolant flush in quite some time, don't attempt this job yourself. Just take it someplace and pay to have it done. That's the easiest way to do it. And of course, that's the part that they were leaving out on all of the other videos. So I had no way of knowing. But moving forward, not going to make that mistake again.